Hi everyone, I'm going to show you today how to develop an assessment plan in Cyrus for assessments that are outside of a triennial IEP time. So for example, if we have OT or PT or an AAC needs assessment that needs to be assessed for a student, this is how you would develop that. For the triennial IEPs, the psychs will go ahead and develop those assessment plans and send those out to parents. So the first thing you're going to do, notice I'm in the training server, so I'm going to be working on a student today, but you will obviously do this in our live server. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a student, and we have Wilma Flintstone. And I search for her, and I'm going to go to IEP Manager. And when you develop an assessment plan, you're going to have to open a new meeting. So really, you'll need to work with the case manager if you're an itinerant to develop what is the purpose of this meeting. If it's simply just to do an assessment, I'll show you how to do that. If it's for an annual with assessments attached, then you'll need to develop that differently. So for creating a new meeting, if you're just doing an assessment plan, for example, an AAC assessment, and there's no other meeting that's going to take place, you're going to do an other review. Create the meeting, and over here there's going to be a drop down. It automatically defaults to additional assessment, but you can make sure that you click additional assessment. Now you're not aware of when the IEP is going to be scheduled yet, and so the case manager will need to submit as soon as the assessment plan has been signed from the parents. We'll need to have the case manager submit an IEP request through HappyFox for an IEP no later than 60 days from the date of signature. And so, for example, you can leave this blank, that's fine. So if you don't know when it's going to take place, you can leave this blank. And what you're going to do is you're going to go down here to PWN Assessment Plans and Pre-Meeting, and we're going to click on that form. And in that form, notice it already clicked Additional Assessment, and it should have some other information. So we're just going to go through these. This student has been designated as English only, and so that's why that's going to be checked. And so the first thing we're going to check is, has the student been referred or recommended for an assessment by who? So who's recommending this? So for example, if it's the teacher, we're going to check that. If the parent's requesting it, you can check the parent, etc. Also, if it's a provider, you can go ahead and check other. Here, there's a PWN that's included in this, and we're going to just type in here. There's a little bit more detail for triennials, but we're going to describe what the proposed assessment's going to be. So you'll notice here on the screen it has quite a long definition already, which includes observations, rating scales, one-to-one testing, review of records, including any previously conducted assessments. So all of those will be already part of that description. In this box, you may want to add exactly what you do not need to be detailed with the specific test that you're going to be using or assessments that you're going to be using, but what you can put is, for example, AAC needs assessment. And the reason for that proposed assessment is to determine, excuse my spelling, students' need for AAC, and for example, what supports can provide, what supports are needed for student to, or just for student. I'm just going to put that. So you're going to just really describe what the assessment is and why you're assessing it, okay? And if it's a parent request, you can put, to determine students' eligibility for OT or PT as requested by parent. All those things can be listed here. Are there any options for what we're rejecting? So we're obviously granting the assessment, so we're just going to put none. And there's really no other factors relevant to this proposal. So you can just fill out these four boxes here. Up on the top, you'll notice that there's a page 2. So you're going to click on page 2, and it'll already have the student's information here. And you're going to just check what's going to be done. So for example, if it's a other we're going to determine it's an AAC needs assessment. And over here, we're going to select who's going to complete that. So maybe the speech language pathologist is going to complete that. If it was, for example, if it was, for example, an OT assessment or a PT assessment, then the PT could select here that we're going to talk about motor development. Down here, you're going to go ahead and put the name of whoever's sending this out and what your position is. And I'll go and just put program specialist, put my phone number at my office in so they can contact me. And you have a couple options now. So that's really completing the assessment plan. And so there's a couple options that you're going to do. I'm going to first of all just save it. And so the first thing you can do is you can print this, and I can download, print it. And I can open that up and it's going to show me the assessment plan if you want to deliver a paper assessment plan to the family. You also can send it out electronically through the links, and I'll show you how to do that now. And so when you're wanting to send it electronically, you're going to click right here where it's going to say save and return. And right here, you're going to click on manage links. Now in the training server, they don't actually send the email, but I'm going to go ahead and just put in the parent guardian. And oftentimes these will be already populated with the parent's information. So I have no idea who Wilma Flintstone's father or mother was. So I'm just going to put Sally. I actually have no idea what Wilma Flintstone's maiden name was. So we're going to put her Sally Rock. And it's going to be srock@gmail.com. And we're going to create a new link. And that's going to go open this up. It's going to show you the subject and who they can reply to. And so my recommendation would be to maybe change this a little bit because it looks a little bit funky. So you can just put assessment plan, Wilma Flintstone, or you can put AAC needs assessment plan, Wilma Flintstone. And you can do a couple different things. You can actually copy right there. When I click copy, it'll actually copy it, and you can put that in your own email and you can send that to the parent. Or if you would like, it didn't finish, so I'm going to finish that. Or you can actually send the email directly from here. So you could put in the email right here, hello, Sally, below is the assessment plan for Wilma's AAC assessment. Please sign this electronically as soon as possible. And then right here, all the parent's going to have to do is they're just going to click on that, and you can click send email. You'll notice in the training server that it won't actually send in real life, but it would send inside of the normal server. And so that would send to the parent. And you'll actually see over here, I'm going to close this, when it comes back, it'll show one of one linked request completed. And you may say, well, how do I know when it's been completed or not? At this point, you would need to just check Cyrus to see if it's been returned, and it would be in the incoming messages, and it will tell you that the student has had it signed. So once it's been signed, we're going to go back to that assessment plan, and we want to make sure also just to document it. So today is the 18th. Let's just say the parent signs it the same day. So we want to go ahead and put in the date that it's been received. Not the date that it was signed, but the date that it was received by PCOE. And note that we have 60 days from the date of receipt, not the date of signature. So for example, if a parent signs it and returns it 3 weeks later, we would go by the later date because that's the date that we received it. So then right here, and that'll actually just help with Cyrus in the back end as far as any timelines and any reminders. And that's all you need to do in order to send out an assessment plan. Remember that once it's been signed, please make sure you notify the case manager, and please make sure that the case manager submits an IEP request in HappyFox. If they don't, then we don't know to schedule an IEP, and the IEP may be out of compliance for the assessment plan. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to your coordinator. Thanks. Bye.